Greetings, fellow seekers of truth, wisdom, and light. This is Reverend Eliot coming to you live tonight in the near the end of November. We're getting there. It's getting cold here in the New York area, but I suppose that happens every year. Every year I tell myself I'm never going to spend another winter in New York. I've been doing that since I would say maybe 1967. And guess where I always spend my winters? Right here in New York, which is a wonderful town. It's filled with opportunities, which is why I don't understand all these people complaining about the lack of opportunities. Because let me tell you something. There's one thing about this town is there's that song that says, if you can make it there, you can make it anywhere. Well, that's wrong. If you can't make it here, you can't make it anywhere, because this town is littered with people just begging to invest their money in any good idea that comes along. And it doesn't even have to be a good idea. I mean, look, I sold a bunch of screenplays here. I didn't have to go to LA. I have friends in LA, or let me rephrase that. I used to have friends in LA. Nothing like success to make your friends run away. But they were in the thick of TV. They were Emmy winners and all that, and they couldn't even option a screenplay. So they were a little bit peeved that I sold a bunch of screenplays. And believe me, the money is good, but the work is. It's rigorous. Let me put it that way, because it's 90% of what I did during my screenwriting days was sending memos to the producers saying, as per our recent phone call, this is what I understood you to say. Because you see, and this is important, and this goes into what we're going to do tonight, or every night here, because essentially every job I've ever had, everything I've ever done is career-wise, has been involving communication. And since we all learned how to speak when we were like 2 years old, we think we're masters of it. And yet, very few people can even tell you what the parts of a conversation are. Beyond that, very few people can tell when they're having a conversation as opposed to having an argument. Now, there are certain things you can look for that'll tell you that you're not having a conversation, you're having an argument, such as if somebody you're talking to responds to what you say with the word but, that's an argument. Now, you know that it irritates you, because what they're really saying is, I ignore everything you just said. So, that's an argument. There are specific parts to a conversation. And this is why I used to have memos, because I knew that the people before me who had worked with these producers couldn't communicate with them. So the producers would tell them what they wanted written. They don't tell you how to write it. They don't tell you about the artistic flourishes and all of that, but they tell you what they want, And that's what I would do. I would say, here's what I heard you say. In a conversation, there's what I say and there's what you heard. There's what you think I said and there's what I think you heard. This goes on and on. I mean, if there's a fascinating thing that you can find, if it's still around, I don't even know if they still do it. Lord knows, looking at the state of the world, I don't think they do, but you can find these things, books about this on eBay and places like that. But there was this thing called the Xerox listening course. And that's fascinating, because that will teach you how to listen, because most people don't listen. But they think they're listening. They don't understand what you said. Now, this is the long way around my getting at the idea that there is so much opportunity here in New York City, because for now anyway, we have a lot of people with a lot of money who want to do things that are prestigious. Here's something you probably don't know. who is one of the top investors in Broadway shows, historically speaking? What group of people puts the most money here in New York into Broadway shows? And I'll tell you right now who it is: dentists. Because they don't get much in the way of respect. And by investing in a show, they could make a lot of money. I mean, I knew a plastic surgeon who invested in Equus. And let me tell you, if he wanted to, he could have quit plastic surgery. However, he was a very interesting physician. He used a lot of his skills to help burn victims free of charge. And he did that by pretty much overcharging on nose jobs. And why not? You know, but he the dentists want to go to that opening night party. Now, years ago, if you look at the old recordings on YouTube of the Broadway Awards, the Antoinette Perry Award, bastardized as the Tony Awards, but if you look at that, you'll see that the producer would come up and get an award, or the playwright will get an award. Now, if you look at the recent ones, you'll have about 20, 30 people on that stage because they're paying to get on the stage as producers, even though they used to just be known as investors or more dismissively angels. But this kind of money is floating around all over New York. If you have an idea, you can go to a venture capitalist and they'll give you all the money you want to get your business going on the condition that you give them 90% of the business. Well, let me tell you something. You don't need to do that in this town. There are strict rules about financing things, but no, I mean, I've been to backers auditions. I've been to backers auditions where people get an opportunity to buy a piece of a show, and they'll do it. They'll write a check right there for 20, 30, 40,000 bucks. Now, I don't know. And now that was back in the 90s. Now, somebody wants to hand me $30,000 in the 90s, and I assure you I was paid much more than that. It's it's you could live. You could live. So if you can't make it in this town, you're not going anywhere in life, because this town is ripe for the picking in that sense. And I don't mean that in terms of conning people. That's the whole ridiculousness of people like Bernie Madoff and all who conned people. You don't need to con people in this town to make money, and I mean loads of it. Now, I don't do that anymore because I pretty much have all the money I care to have. I mean, I'm not in the list of the richest people in New York. That's for sure. But my wife and I did very well. My wife started a business that we both ran for 20 years, and she did it without investing a nickel. You see, that's what kind of town we have here. She got enough people to invest. It was a newspaper, and she got enough people to invest, i.e. buy advertising, before it came out. They bought advertising. They bought a year's worth of advertising in a newspaper before it even was published. Now, that's because they knew that she was plugged in and she knew people, and they believed that she could do it. But, I've also, some of you might remember the fun days. I did a year of shows on Ask One Radio, remotely live from a restaurant here in the Theater District neighborhood, and that was fun. I missed doing that, and I might want to do that again. But that, I drew up a business plan and I brought it to the restaurant. And I said, here's the business plan. Here's what we're going to do. And he said, I don't need to see that. Just tell me where to sign and give you the check. So, this is what is at stake right now, because right now we have people who want to destroy that class of people. These are people who provide seed money for things. These are the people who invest in projects. And generally, they'll invest just so they can go to the party. That's about it, and believe me, if you've ever been to a red carpet celebrity party, dull, dull as ditch water, dull, just dull. I've told this story many times. My wife and I, we are in the sphere of influence of New York. We were nobody, and we've worked our way down from that. And we went to an exclusive party at the Metropolitan Museum of Art. And just before we got in to past the photographers, I said to her, cover your face, just hide your face, act like you don't want to be photographed. And of course, we both did that, and we could not get the photographers away from us all night. And in fact, I was the magazine that had been given the rights to cover it, named me the best dressed person at the party. And they didn't have a clue who I was. I would tell them, well, I run a newspaper in Hell's Kitchen. And they thought I was joking. They thought that was just a silly thing to say. But you see, that's the way this town is. This is why you can make a dream, so to speak, come true. But you don't chase your dreams. No, I knew a comedian who's very, 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 very successful now, and she was very good from the beginning, which doesn't happen very often. But it turned out she deliberately set out to become a comedian because she had been a dancer. And she used to do interviews once she became celebrity type. And how does it feel to see your dreams come true? And she said, I never dreamed of being a comedian. I wanted to have a good, lucrative career. And I was a dancer. And I looked around and I saw there were more old comedians than there were old dancers. So she decided to become a comedian. Now, you want to twist my arm sometime, I'll tell you who it was. But she has the loudest whistle I ever heard for getting a cab in New York. She was just a fascinating person. And she's still out there. She's still performing. She had a residency in Vegas, and she wasn't following her dreams. She was looking for a lucrative career. Now, there you see. Now, if you get people in here who say, well, those people who finance and grow businesses because that's what they like to do, and you call them parasites and you want to kick them out of New York or tax them into oblivion, that's going to kill it, I mean, I go far enough back. I knew a group of dancers who all bemoaned the fact that they couldn't get jobs in any of the dance companies in New York. And this was in the late 70s, very long time ago. So what did they do? They started their own dance company. Bingo. They're still in existence in 2025. So you see, the art of conversation is important because you want to talk somebody into seeing why it's in their interest to give you money. I'm not talking about conning them. The offer of 10% profit, no matter what the market did, that Bernie Madoff promised people, it was the reason he went to prison. Of those of you who remember Ben Stein, he was notorious for warning people not to invest in that guy because he's full of it. You cannot guarantee people a 10% return on their money year in and year out. It's impossible unless you run a Ponzi scheme. Now, I happen to think that Ponzi is one of the heroes of American capitalism because he was crazy. And what he did wasn't exactly illegal at the time, but it sure is now. Look up, if you don't really, you've heard the expression, but if you don't know what it really was, take a look at it. Look up Ponzi scheme. It's just screwy. But again, let me tell you something. I have known many people who came here to New York specifically to become rich and famous, and in a matter of months, they left here crying and whining with their tail between their legs because it's a brutal town like that. But I've known others who did it. I've known more people who did it. The weirdest group I've known was the people who did it and then killed themselves because they were doing it all for the wrong reasons. I was doing it because it was a job I figured I could handle. They wanted to be rich and famous. And I used to tell people, you can do that. You can be rich and famous. The thing is, then the only difference is you're going to have a lot of money and everyone's going to know who you are. But you're still going to be you, because wherever you go, as they say, let's see, wherever you go, there you are. You're always going to bring you with it. So if I wanted to, that's why I'm concerned about the little trend now in saying, the vague expressions like the rich should pay their fair share. In this town, the rich pay about 80% of all the taxes. And I'll give you, here's a mind-blowing thing. If you make more than $35,000 a year, you are in the 1% of income earners in the world. You don't see many people in the world making that kind of money. You just don't. And 35,000 isn't considered much anymore. You know that. But that puts you in the 1% worldwide. So learn the art of conversation, which is in a manner of speaking, the art of success. You go to mojoacademy.org. Get over to mojoacademy.org and look at my page called The Secret of Success. And you'll see various things there. Very forgotten lectures on record albums that'll show you how to do these things. It'll teach you how to succeed. I mean, I've known people who picked the wrong thing. I knew people who they wanted to become comedians, and they got furious when the audience didn't laugh at what they were saying. And they would say, "It's funny. It's funny. Why aren't you laughing?" Now, here's the kicker, It may be funny. It just may be funny, but not for you. You have to, this is the art of doing comedy, which a lot of people don't get, which is you have to find what you say that makes people laugh. What I say that made people laugh on the occasions when they did is not the same that's going to work for somebody else, because we're all different. And it is so hard to learn how to do that and peel away who you are until you're left with the illusion that you're just conversing with people from a stage. And you can talk to hundreds and hundreds of people. Dave Chappelle does that. He looks like he's just having a chat with about 3,000 people. It's a simulacrum, but he figured out how to do that for him. Now, if you try to copy what he does, it isn't necessarily going to work for you, because we're all different. So that's what I wanted to get at is this idea that we're gonna stick it to the people who have all the money. Well, those people have a habit of spreading that money around because they want a return on investment, and they'll be happy with 7, 8, 9%. 9% is damn good, but they're going to want something, and you have to deliver. You have to do what you say you're going to do. This is the only reason I spent several years as a working screenwriter, because I did play doctoring work too, but I'm not allowed to talk about that. I won't get into any details. But the thing is that you've got to know what is required of you and be able to do it. And that's it. No big deal. No strain. It's just another job if you handle it that way. Now, if your ego is tied into it and you must be rich and famous, you're doomed. So go over to mojoacademy.org and look at that page about the secret of success. There's some videos there and to get, and there's some audio to get. And I'm hoping that my disk burning stuff still works after all the wonderful upgrades I've done. Oh, that reminds me. What works. And then we'll get to the calls. People have been waiting for the 10 lost books of the prophets to come back. in stock. It's one of my most popular items, and it's also my most expensive item, oddly enough. But people love it. It's a 1930s set of little books that I blew up into a bigger size, and I restored them. And if you buy them, I'll give you this button. But take a look at that. You can see it in 10lostbooksoftheprophets.com. But I don't have any to sell right now because the post office lost a shipment of 200 books. Yeah. So thanks, guys. But the printing plant has very graciously offered and started the process of replacing those free of charge. So I'll have that there soon. I'll have that at the website soon at my eBay store. But I know that was a little bit of a leap, but I just remembered that I know people are waiting for those books because those books will show you certain esoteric / religious. You can't operate that without one without the other. Methods to focus and be successful in a way that only you can be successful. Look, I have the hiccups. I hate that's so infantilizing, getting the hiccups. I don't like it at all. It mortifies me. But I promise not to drop dead during the show. You'll get your hours worth here. So listen, that's just an upgrade. Yeah, I don't think that people understand the dynamic. I mean, younger people who have never had a job and are like 30 and 40, I don't think they understand the dynamic of investing in yourself and making something happen. I'm living proof that it can be done. I was not a great student. All I wanted out of school was to learn how to read and write. And I said, I'll take it from there, folks. But they don't like to hear 5-year-olds or 6-year-olds say that. So, I got into a bit of trouble. Nevertheless, it's very important to examine the things that we take for granted, such as conversation and speech. Because as I said, we all learned how to talk at about 2 years old. So we think we're experts at it, but we're not. You've got to learn to do it. I studied how to speak. I studied general semantics. I took the Xerox listening course way back when I had a job as a telephone communicator. So you see, these things are important. And I'm urging you to do that. Well, if I could get a copy of that, I would definitely put that for sale in my Secrets of Success thing. But take a look at those. It's at mojoacademy.org, and it's about secrets of success. And they're not really secrets, but you think they are because of how few people use them. So anyway, look, I've been talking long enough, which is usually a sign that I thought I was going to miss the show because I've been rather sick for the last week or so, and I missed a few shows, and I just I get full of ideas and things. I'm sure there's a lot of stuff I wanted to talk about that I left out, such as these buttons. These are the buttons. I wear one here about the show. See, it's about Reverend Eliot's Magical Window. And if you want some of those, I'll send them to you, no charge. I won't even charge you postage. Just get over to mojoacademy.org or magic-works.com and go to the Contact Eliot page, and I'll send you a few. No charge at all. See, I told you, there's people all over New York just with things dripping off of them that they want to give to you, so there you go. So now let's ring a bell 3 times so that we can declare a sacred space. And I think that my extended gibbering tonight was worth it because I was talking about something very interesting. At least I hope you found it that way. So here we go. And now we will pull back the curtain on the magical window for Loretta in Ohio. Hi, Loretta. You're on with Reverend Eliot.
Hi, how are you?
I'm doing well. How are you tonight?
I'm good, thank you.
Well, let's see if we can make that better. But I certainly want to thank you for having stuck around while I just shot my mouth off for 24 minutes. So I appreciate
No,
it.
I enjoyed it.
Oh, thank you so
I
much.
enjoyed it.
Well, what can I look at for you tonight?
I am looking to see what is going on with my daughter and my granddaughter and my two grandsons.
Okay. So you just want to take a look at family matters in that sense and see what the overall
Uh huh.
vibe is? Oh boy, are you people having a lot of strife?
Are you asking or are you
Yeah,
telling me?
I'm asking because I've got the Ace of Swords, and
Yes.
swords can mean obviously strife. You know what I mean? But it also refers
Hmm.
to mental activity because a lot of these things, the strife is usually people in making things up in their heads, and going for it. Okay, so that's the background of what's going on here. The Empress is here. That's you. You're a person who makes things grow and happen. Am I right?
I believe so.
Okay. Well, now that only a person who really is good at making things grow and happen would answer that way because you're not taking it for granted. You're just you're not. Yeah, you're damn right. I make things. No, I'm the guy who makes things happen. That kind of thing. We never believe that person, do we? But
Right, right.
it. So you've confirmed it. Let's put it that way. Um, so you may be able to bring some sense out of all of this. Um, this is costing you emotionally and maybe even financially for all but you don't have to go into all the details, but this is the Hanged Man, and that is a card about a person who is sacrificing for the greater good. Now the thing about this card is when you turn it upside down, the character is dancing, so there's goodness there, but you're in a position of sacrificing now. Now that's followed up by the Seven of Rods, which is a person who can sweep away obstacles. You have great ability to cut through the garbage. And there's the Nine of Swords, which is this is bringing you sadness. It's just very sorrowful. The situation is going to change, and that's the Wheel of Fortune. And I'll tell you how it's going to change. The Magician is a great card. It's a person who has spiritual power and can bring power from above and use it down here in the earthly realm, followed by the Justice card. There's been an injustice at the root of a lot of this, and you're going to see that justice happens. And the World is here. That's a card of assured success. So you may not want to do all the work that needs to be done, but if you do choose to do it, you can heal these people. You can help bring them out and bring them around. But you're dealing with a really nasty situation, rife with sadness, filled with injustices, and strife and struggle. But you're good at cutting through the garbage. That's going to be your strength if you choose to deal with it. There's nothing here that says you have to, okay? But obviously you want to, or you wouldn't be calling and asking me, correct?
Yep, you are
So
correct. Well, I kind of get between I'm in between a rock and a hard place.
yeah, well, here's another card. Again, that shows me more about you again. It's the Strength card. The Strength card is a person who has what it takes to do the job. The Three of Cups means that you may be bringing these people together. You may be able to do that. The King of Swords is here. Now, we started out with the Ace of Swords. The King of Swords means you're going to have to be harsh. You're going to have to be firm. You're going to have to, you may even be perceived as the bad guy in all of this. But and I will know that you're not, because sometimes you gotta knock heads together in a metaphorical way, because I have seen so much fighting and so much strife among people who just want that. It's as if life is too easy, so they make troubles. And I think that's a lot of what you're dealing with. Here's the Knight of Swords again. You see, This is rife with swords, which is about conflict and war. But oh, here's a good one. This is a person who's been through conflict and war, and is prepared for the job. So it's your job if you want it. Okay, there's nothing here that says you have to do this. But you know, personally, I have a very low threshold for family drama. I decided so many years ago that being related to me doesn't give you the right to treat me like garbage. And I went on a firing spree. I sent termination notices to a bunch of people I'm related to, and that was that. And I haven't allowed them back into my sphere again. Now, you know, that might not be the best way to handle it for you, but it worked for me, if you know what I mean. So I'm not advising you to fire everybody, but at some point you know, you don't want to unite them in their hatred of you, right? So,
Right.
and I've found that the person who comes in to help generally gets beaten into the ground, you know. But you may not,
Right.
you know, but you look, here's judgment. This is about people getting reborn and changing and getting what they deserve. So who knows? You may be a very positive influence on this whole, you know, group of people, but um, protect yourself is going to be my conclusion to you, because as much as you want to help other people, you can't help other people until you take care of yourself. So don't put yourself at grave risk. You know, just be easy on yourself too. Be kind to yourself, because there's a whole group of people around who are willing to hurt you. You know, am I right? They don't care, do
Yeah,
they?
you're right.
Yeah.
No,
So this
no, they don't
I'm
care at all. But my concern is my granddaughter
yeah,
being abused.
the children. Yes, exactly. The small child. And here is a card, the Page of Cups, which has a small child. You see, this is exactly, these cards are really with you. The Page of Cups is the beginning of emotional happiness and healing and growth. So you may be able to deal with that child and not all the other people. It's just possible, because there's healing and health and growth there. And there's the Knight of Swords again, as if to emphasize, you know, as if the knight doing battle with a raised sword, you know. So there's potential for success here. There really is. But don't
Well,
let it,
my hopes were that my daughter would come to her senses and try to, us build our relationship again. But she's wanting to fight
you
me
know,
on everything, and so therefore, like I said, I'm worried about you, my granddaughter.
yes, and here, look, this is the three of swords, which is a heart pierced by three swords, and the heart is crying. So this is not a frivolous situation. This is a very deep and painful situation. And the question is, how much are you willing to take in terms of pain to help work it out? You know, and how willing are they to listen? I mean, maybe you all need to sit down with a therapist, a family therapist or something, you know, because I'm certainly not a counselor in that regard. I can't even legally call myself a counselor. Uh, but you see, now boy, I was hoping so much that this card would show up. This is the sun. That's healing and health and growth and happiness. And again, there's a little child here. And that's backed up by the Ace of Cups, which is the onset of happiness and emotional well-being. So I'm getting signals here that it's doable, that it's possible, but that's going to be done by dint of your own personality and who you are. You know, this is not something you're going to
Well,
read in a book, you know.
I've
So
been I've been fighting for it for 3.5 years.
yeah,
Or
well,
trying
that's
to make it
yeah.
happen for 3.5 years. So
Well, at some point, you're going to have to decide how much longer you want to do this, and maybe just see if the granddaughter at some point just grows out of it and decides to say hello to you. That's let's face it. You know, and I know that they've been poisoning her mind, right, against you.
Yes.
Yeah, I mean that goes without saying almost, but these, this is like the Two of Swords. That's another the sword. You're getting so many sword cards because that's the nature of this situation. That's things reaching a standstill, and when that happens, you might be able to break through. But I'm still seeing the success card here of the world. So it all depends upon how strong you are and how strong you want to be and how strong you need to be and what you wish to do. Because there's a good chance that you can work this through, but be very alert to the signs that show that they're not listening. Okay?
Oh, I'm aware. I
You
am
know,
very aware of that.
because I don't want you to be here's the King of Swords again. See, every time I cut the cards, I go back to the main sword cards here. Here's the Seven of Swords. Now, that had to show up because that's about somebody sneaking around and causing trouble. Sound familiar, right?
Yeah,
So,
absolutely. I was one of my questions too. Is if there's any involvement in drugs or any kind of illegal activity?
well, let's see. I don't know that I can specifically see that, but I do see there's that one person who's causing trouble. There's that one person there's always somebody around us who thrives on trouble. I mean, I was at a meeting one time of an organization where there was big trouble in the organization, and it was coming from two people. And we were able to figure out immediately at a meeting who the two people were when somebody pointed out, it's you and it's you. And they were horrified. They'd wanted, how'd you know? I said, because of all the people here dealing with this and discussing it, you two are the only ones who are smiling. See, they will reveal themselves. This kind of person these people will reveal themselves. Let's see if I can get any indication of drug activities and illegal activities. Well, naturally, I got another sword card here, the Page of Swords, the Knight of Swords. Um, I'm not getting anything that indicates that. It's got the Nine of Swords. It's the Ten of Swords. Well, that's good. The Ten of Swords indicates that this may be over soon. So the King of Swords. I mean, oh man, it's like this whole deck is made of swords tonight. Uh, but I'm not. I am seeing that there is a person who's responsible for instigating trouble, but I can't see the nature of it. Okay, I'll see what I can do after the show, and maybe if I find something there, if you send me an email, I will, or contact me through my website, magic-works.com, magick-works.com. I'll be happy to fill you in on anything I see. But at the moment, I'm just seeing that there is one specific person who is causing a lot of trouble. And generally,
Right.
that person is doing it for the sake of causing trouble. Here's the card again that let me see that the child is involved and it may work out well. And the Nine of Coins is here. I want you to consider the Nine of Coins. Go online and look at the Nine of Coins from various decks and see what you think of it, because it means a person who will be fine away from people. For you may need a
Mm-hmm.
peopleectomy for a while, don't you think? Because
Yes.
3.5 years is a long time for this. But I admire your stick-to-itiveness, and I also see that you have the power to deal with this. The question, as I said, is do you want to? And that's only you can answer that. So please, by all means, stay in
Yeah.
touch with me, and we can take a look as things develop. I'll be happy to. I mean, now this is not a sales pitch because I'm not going to charge you if you want to see some more cards and you want to contact me. I'm not. I'm not considering that a deal. You know, I'll be a resource for you. How's that?
Well, that sounds great. And what did you say here? How to contact you?
Go to mojoacademy.org or magic-works.org, magick-works.org. Each has a contact page, or you can, at askoneradio.com, you can look me up there and you'll see how to contact me. You just look up Reverend Eliot's Magical Window and it's contact. It's very easy to get to me, okay?
Okay.
So I'm going to light a white candle to send positive energy your way, and let's see where it
Thank
goes.
you.
Okay.
I appreciate you.
Well, you know, you're a very strong spiritual person, and if you can't handle this, nobody can. You know, that's the way I look at it. So thanks for trusting me and contacting me with this because I want to help you see through it. Okay.
Well, I do appreciate that. That's for sure.
So thanks for calling.
Oh, thank you. Bye-bye.
And if it's possible at all, have a nice Thanksgiving. How's that?
Thank you. You as well.
Thanks. Bye bye now. And let's shuffle them up. You're listening to Reverend Eliot's Magical Window. And boy, we're really dealing with aspects of peoplehood today, that's for sure. And I love that. It's all so strange because I've seen so many people in my life who just like to hurt people. They enjoy it. And I don't mean consensually. I'm not talking about the masochist and the sadist, you know. It's an old joke, but you know, the masochist goes up to the sadist and says, "Beat me." And he looks at the masochist and says, "No." Now, that's vicious, you know. Anyway, Kayla in Pittsburgh is next. Hi, Kayla. You're on with Reverend Eliot.
Hi, how are you?
I'm doing well. How are you tonight?
I'm good. I'm good.
Great. What can I
Um,
look at for you?
I was wondering what areas of my life need healing?
Oh, okay. Well, I just got like the happiest card in the tarot deck, which is the Ten of Cups. So it looks like you're okay, you know. The Four of Cups is here. That is a card of a person who is trying to figure out things to do and doesn't notice that there's another three cups is what they're considering. There's a hand coming out of a cloud, and that is holding a cup, and that is offering something new that may be very good for you in terms of emotions and growth and healing. The Hierophant is here. That's a card of religious authority, although I'm hesitant to draw that out any further. There's just, to me, that says you may want to work on some spiritual stuff, but you know that's between you and your beliefs. You know, there's certainly nothing that I can tell you to do. But I'm seeing that you're in a very good position now emotionally, and this just may be the time for you to get a little more spiritual in life. If you know, does that feel like the way it is for you, or do you have a firm spiritual grounding?
About right.
Hmm. Okay, so that's about all I see here. You know, everything else is fine. You know, I've got the Judgment card, which is, you know, that's a decent, happy thing. I've got the Fool, which is, again, if there was anything negative in the reading, having that card appear would get rid of it. So it's a very positive reading. If there's something, essentially, then what it's saying is if you want something to concentrate on, concentrate a bit more on the spiritual side of life. How's that?
Okay.
Okay, that's
Okay.
should be judging by what I see about who you are from these cards. That's going to be easy to do. Okay, so give it a shot. Okay,
All right. Thank you.
my pleasure. Bye bye now. And let's see, where are we? We're rounding near the end here. Elizabeth in Milton, Vermont is next. Hi, Elizabeth.
Hello.
Hi,
Hello.
how are you tonight? Yeah, I'm here.
I'm fine.
I see the
I'm
name
fine,
Milton,
thank you.
Vermont, and I think of the old TV movie with Martin Landau as a war veteran who's looking for his hometown called Charles, Vermont, and he can't find it
Yes.
anywhere. You know the movie, right?
That's yes.
So yeah, that's it's that may have been what inspired them, right? A name like Milton, Vermont. So what can I look at for you?
Um I I don't know. I have a dog that's very ill, and
Oh,
I have a husband with Alzheimer's, and I'm just feeling not sure what to do with myself these days because I feel like I'm going to be losing both of them. And
well,
I'm not
yeah.
well myself, but
These
I'm not
these
as
things
bad as
pile
they
up,
are.
don't they? When they
Yes.
come, they come. The old joke that they all come in threes, right? Well, let me tell you, there's a few
Yes.
things here.
Well,
Uh,
I
the
have my grandson lives with us, and so does my ex-son-in-law.
Oh, okay. There you go. That's
So
find your happiness where you can, right?
that's
Let
right.
me let me just tell you what you got here because you're entering a period of upheaval in life, but
Uh,
uh,
what in life?
upheaval, things changing.
Oh, okay.
Things are coming
Okay.
to an
Yes.
end, but you see, the
Yes.
Temperance card is here. Now that means balance restored. So you'll get through this, and everything will be balanced again. The Ten of Swords is here. That's a card that says life got pretty bad, but life did its worst, and you're still here, and you're going to succeed. And the Ace of Cups is here, which is a card about new levels of happiness and emotion coming. So I'm not big on change in life. I really am not. I just am not. I mean, I just got a new printer after like 12 years and, and a new computer after about 15 years. And everything has to be updated now, and it's driving me nuts. So to now, I'm not comparing my technological goofiness with the tragedies in your life that are on the horizon, but I don't do well with change, but we need it sometimes. And
Right.
what
I
what I am
feel
seeing is
I've been
you're going to come through this fine. It's not that it won't hurt, but you'll deal with it and
right.
you'll be fine.
Right.
Okay?
Okay.
The-
All
I
right.
don't I don't see I don't see problems here. Let's see if I can find anything else, anything deeper. No, there's no. It's all good. It's all fine here. Um,
Okay. Well, I
it's just
appreciate that very much.
there just comes a time when life decides to start smacking us around, and
Right.
we deal with it, and it's not fun
Right.
to deal with it, and it's not pleasant, and I'd rather not. And unfortunately, I've reached the stage in my life where I can't consume alcohol anymore, so I have to deal with it.
Yeah. I wish I would. I wish I couldn't. I didn't have to consume food.
Yeah. Oh gosh, I
That's
know.
my personal battle.
I know that feeling. Tell me, when I was 50, I took off well over 110, 20 pounds. And that was a long time ago, but that was, sheesh, these things creep up on us, don't they? So let me
They
see if I
do.
can
I
leave you with
lost
something
80 pounds.
excellent, beautiful. Well, let me
Yeah.
tell you here. This is good. This is a good message here. This is the card, the Eight of Cups, that tells me that's a person who's moving away from things that are not working for her and going towards things that are working. Now, you already did some of that, as you mentioned. And the next is the Four of Rods, which is about a happy home, and the Six of Rods, which is assured success. and the Eight of Rods, which means that the success and happiness is coming very soon. So you're at the always darkest before the dawn part, which means you're living a cliche, but it's going to be all right. Okay.
Right. Okay. Thank you very much.
I'm going to light a candle for you also to send positive energy your way, because these are very, very, very difficult things to get through, and I don't like them myself. This is why we're all
Right.
born
Right.
crying. We were so happy and snug and comfortable, and then pow, we're in this room and it's cold, and we start crying.
Yep.
So, you know,
I
and
agree with
and
you.
and it never ends. It's always about change.
Right.
So, but I
Yeah.
don't like it, but I deal with it. So thanks a lot for calling,
Right.
and I wish you all the best.
And thank you so much. I appreciate your help.
Thank
Bye
you for
now.
your kind words. Bye bye now. And that's it. We've come to the end of another edition of Reverend Eliot's Magical Window. We got a couple of minutes left, so I'll remind you that you can see what I do at magic-works.com, magick-works.com. Check out there at mojoacademy.org. That's my more of books and videos and audios. And over there you can see the secrets to success that I have spoken about. And it is there's some really heavy duty advice there about personal growth. Unfortunately, that's how complicated life is, but I've also got there's a disc there called Psycholaxation, which was believe it or not, was the first guided meditation towards easing anxiety at a time, and it came out at a time when people started taking Milltown. I mean, people back then were concerned about tranquilizers. They probably had no concept of how many people are going to be living on mind-altering drugs now because of anxiety and things like that. So, we're not meant to do that. We're not meant to be stressed out, but there's times when there's nothing we can do about it. So maybe check out that recording of Psycholaxation, and there's plenty of guided meditations out there that are really worth the serenity that you get out of them. There's a lot of garbage out there too, but I'm hoping I can help guide you through that. So anyway, we've got to run now, and I'll be back again next week with another edition of Reverend Eliot's Magical Window. Until then, remember, time flies. It's up to you to be the navigator. Bye-bye. I'll see you next week.